it feels so cold inside my heart tonight. Be my man is what she said. It's not just the wind that's moving around tonight, but quick and clean don't make it right.
Righto, start of the day, Ant and I have taken a bit of a risk. We've walked in a mile from the car into the bush and it's been raining non-stop, but Ant has said, just got out of the car and said to the skies, stop raining.
and somehow it worked.
Somehow it worked, yeah.
The sun's popping through up there and we got a little bit of blue sky, so happy days.
So we walked in, we're at the head of the gully, and you can see we're at the head of the gully because the gully's been worked down there, and this is where it started to cut out. So they've sunk potholes to try and see if it's going to go any further, and then when they haven't got much success, they've knocked off. So these holes here are where they've worked up. And the reason that when you're in the area that we're in, it's pretty well all about the gullies and not too much about the flanks or the slopes, because imagine you've got a big bit of cardboard and you put dust and stones on it, and then you've got 3 or 4 big folds in it, and you move it sideways like that. Everything goes into the folds, and that's what's happened here. Over the millions of years that the gold's been travelling away from the reefs, the ground's been lifted up and shaken, and the big floods have come through and the small rainfalls have come through, and everything's gone into the what would be crevices, except they're crevices that are 20 metres deep, 30 metres deep. So the gold's in the gullies. They've worked up and down the gullies, thrown the dirt out on the sides, sluiced the gullies. So that's where we're going to work down this big gully and up the other side. So it's already starting to rain.
I know, just as you said that.
Yeah, the ground's as slippery as a butcher's dick, so yeah. You've got to be careful, and with that in mind, I want to show you down here a cautionary tale when we get down there, but that's for later on. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of gold before that. Right, Ant, let's get into it.
Good luck, mate.
Good luck, Ant.
Cheers.
Righto, we've stopped off here. We're moving our way down the gully because I found a hut site, and you can see that the chimney stones are here, and this sort of hut has only been a small one, and because you can see the edges, so it's probably just been the chimney and pegged down canvas and a bit of bark up here, chimney stones, and then a bit of bark to carry the smoke away. And it's pretty small. It may have even been a one-man job because it's really only the width of a double bed with a chimney place at the top. So if you think you've found a chimney hut site, if you run your detector around, you'll get enough signals to convince you that
Definitely a hut site.
there's definitely a hut site. So a man or men have lived here. So I've got a signal here, and I dug it out. There's another bit in there, but I pulled one out which was a better sounding one, which was this. It's not any great significance, except it's a large piece of melted lead or some sort of formed metal. See how soft it is. But it made me think, when you are working around the huts, sometimes you'll find what's called amalgam. And amalgam is just simply gold and mercury that have joined together and made into a different type of metal, another metal. So they're working on in the dish, they've got their fines, they put a bit of mercury into the dish to gather up all the fines, squeeze it out in a chamois cloth, the mercury comes back out of the leather through the thin leather cloth and leaves a nice little bright lump. So you'll be detecting, and you'll find a little bit and you think, oh, that's a bullet, and you flick it into your bag like Ant wears, or push it in your pocket or hurl it over your shoulder if you're in a bad mood. But have a good look at it, rub it on your pants, don't put it in your mouth, just spit on it, because if it's got mercury in it, mercury's poison.
That's right.
And that's why, you know, and people say they're as mad as a hatter.
Yeah.
That's where that term comes from, because people that made hats, to stiffen the brim, they'd put mercury into the brim, you know, to stiffen it. They'd rub it in with their fingers. And eventually it'd go through their bloodstream, up to their brain, interfere with their brain, and you become as mad as a hatter. So mercury's dangerous, we know that. It's all right when it's, to a certain extent, when it's inert in amalgam. So when you find a little bit of heavy metal that you think is lead, give it a bit of a spit, rub it on your pants. If it shows yellow or a yellowy colour, there's good chance you've got gold and mercury. So then what you do, if you can't afford a retort, simply a retort is heats it, the gas goes out underwater. The gas that comes out is terribly bloody dangerous. Or if you're like my brother and you find a great big bit, you go out, you light the fire in the backyard, you put it in and you push it around with a stick, and it's like he was cooking eggs, and he had these big bits of gold. And where he found his, there'd been a water wheel crusher in the stream, and they'd been collecting the amalgam off the tables, and someone either tried to steal it or got careless with it and put it to one side. He come detecting along, found some nice big bits of amalgam, came and showed them to me. I told him what I'd do. So he got a cast iron pan, covered in chalk so it wouldn't stick to the pan, put his amalgam in there, lit a fire under it, kept his head well back, and every so often pushing around. Like I went down and he was like pushing eggs around the pan. He had 2 or 3 big bits of gold as big as that.
Jeez.
So keep your eye out for amalgam, and keep your eye out for huts, because huts will lead you to the gold.
Yep.
This bloke's hut is on this gold field here.
Yep.
That's it, Ant.
All right. Cheers, mate.
Good on you, mate. Righto, we're down in the gully that we're working down. And we've come on a big heap of stones, big heap of sluice stones. And these are all the stones that he would have had a long tom, which is a long wooden sluice box, bringing the water down from the top and washing the bottom of the gully. These are all the stones he's thrown out. These are the ones he's had to lift out and stack up there. And that's a nice bit of conglomerate. See all the little different bits of stone that's in that. I mean, they could easily have a little bit of gold stuck with it.
Yep.
But I haven't stopped you here to show you the stone heap. Down here is something I found interesting. I just want to show you.
Something I've never seen before.
So
Pretty bloody cool.
you wonder how, when they came into these gullies, how they knew there was gold at the bottom without physically taking all the dirt off. And what they would do is they would sink a shaft in the gully itself, clean up the bottom, and then work out how much gold they got, how much water they needed to take off the overburden, and whether it was rich enough for them to work. So just here is a perfect example of it, because this here that I'm standing in now, that was a shaft. That's one of the original shafts that they've sank.
Look at that.
They've sank that shaft down to the bottom. It's filled up with dirt that's come off it now, and he's put a little drive in there. But he's sunk down to this level where to have a look at this stone, wash a dish or wash 10 dishes, and to see whether it was worth working the gully. So you might say, how do you know it's a shaft? Well, aside from the flat sides, see the striations there, that's where he's brought his pick down like that. So he's been in the confines here digging with his pick. Can you get a close up on those lines here?
Yeah, you can see them very clearly.
They're the pick marks there.
Yep.
And these little rippers, here, here,
How good are
here, here,
they?
they're the footholds.
Exactly.
That's where he's gone up and down.
That's amazing.
So he's been going up and down the shaft.
You going to give us a demo, Glenn?
Remember I told you about the butcher? And I've got a tale to tell you about here, so I won't give you a demo.
Yeah.
But
No, this is really
yeah, so
very cool.
that's a shaft. He's been up there, he's sunk the shaft, got down on the bottom and said, yeah, this gully's all right. And he's taken all the surface off, and when he's washed down, he's exposed this side of it. On all this ground that he's dug through, there's no gold in that. That's been laid down afterwards until he gets down to the wash stones down the bottom here, which he had to do, and that's why part of the reason he's belled out, because he sank the shaft, but then he doesn't just want to do the little bit of the area at the bottom, because he might sink on a rich pocket.
Yeah.
And say this gully's great, I'll put in a week digging a dam and I'll do this and do that. So what he's done is belled it out, put in a drive and tested it across.
Yeah.
So Ant, that's why that bloke went to all that trouble washing all those stones, because he'd already tested the bottom.
Yep.
Right, I'll switch off, Ant, I'll just show you something down here.
That's fine. Beautiful, look at that, folks.
Yeah, we have a good close up in the
Yeah,
hand
you
on
don't
that.
see this too often. First time I've ever seen it.
Footholes,
Really cool.
pick marks,
Yep.
belling out down the bottom,
That's great.
and that's how they knew. Right, earlier on when we started, I was telling you how slippery the bush is. And when my father was a young married man, there was a bloke in his area, an older man, and every Sunday, after he'd done his chores, he'd go out the bush, he had a hessian bag, a sugar bag, had a poverty pot and his dish and a scraper, a double-ended scraper. So a piece of steel that long with a flat end and a little bent pointy end. What he would do is get to the creek, drop his bag, drop his dish and his poverty pot, then come up here with his hessian bag and his scraper, and all these areas that have been surfaced, he'd clean out all the cracks and all the little tiny colours that the early prospectors missed, till he got a bag that he could carry, go back to the creek, sit on his favourite rock in the sun, dish it out. Then when he got to the fines, a poverty pot is just a pot with a handle on it, and it's called a poverty pot because when you're on poor gold, if you can't be bothered dishing down to just the fines and wasting time, you put it in your poverty pot and take it home and do it at your leisure. So he'd done that for most of his adult life, and he knew all about the gold. As he got older and older, he was still coming out of the bush here, and his family was saying, don't go, don't go. Now one Sunday afternoon he came out here with his dog, dropped his gear at the creek, came in the bush here somewhere and went missing. So Sunday evening, when he should have been home, his wife reported him missing. They rang the fire bell, they had a big search party that night, and they said he went missing on the Sunday afternoon and they hadn't been found by the following Friday. So then two of my uncles and the man's son, they got the man's dog and they came back out of the bush, they got to the creek, and then they let the dog go. And the dog came up in here and stopped by a hole where we are. So one of my uncles, who was only 17 at the time, the hole was full of water, it was in June, in the winter time. He prodded down the hole and he said, I can feel something. And the two older blokes that were with him said, no, you can't feel anything, you're just a young dope. Anyhow, they went away. So the dog kept staying at the hole and whining at the hole. So he kept prodding at the hole, and then unfortunately for him and unfortunately for the man rose out of the water that he'd been drowned in the hole, and he come bobbing back to the surface.
Jesus.
Which when you're a 17-year-old man or a 17-year-old boy, depending on what you look at it, just on dark is a terrible thing to have to happen to you.
Yeah.
So they rescued him. They retrieved his body. They didn't rescue him. They retrieved his body. And sometimes you think, well, how could he get in the bloody hole? And
This is a true story, right?
This is true. This is
a
absolutely
story,
true.
yeah,
I know that this is true. This is documented. The
yeah.
name's name is Bob Miller. He disappeared in 1956. He was 76 year old. So this is true. You can look it up on the internet. Musqueam man. So when I slid down here this morning, see this slid down mark here, I was coming down to look in the hole, and here's the hole. This is the very hole that he drowned in. So imagine you're a young 17-year-old man. You're prodding a 10-foot hole. You're prodding it like that. Oh, I can feel something. Your mates or your brother and the man's brother, they take off saying, no, there's nothing down there. The little dog called Laddie, he's here barking. You're prodding, next minute, up the body rises. So, and the reason the poor bugger drowned, he could swim. This is a shaft that's been sunk in the bottom of the gully to see if there's a second level. So this ground I'm standing on is dirt that's come out of the hole. So the bottom runs along there, there's another side there. The water only rises, it's about 10 to 12 foot deep of water, but then it's about 4 foot of clear ground because the water travels, soaks through, it never fills to the top. So even though he could swim, he couldn't get his hands out, he couldn't get free. He was stuck in there until eventually he succumbed to the cold or to the exertion and drowned. So when I was telling Ant to be careful today how slippery the bush was, and I slid down here, I'm bloody lucky I wasn't down in there with Bob Miller. So, so true story. Bitterly hurt that Ant would say this is a true story, as if I would ever stretch the truth. So yeah, so my two uncles, but the little dog came to the hole. The little dog kept coming back to the hole. So Ant, if I'm missing, either look for my hat or look for my dog. Right, mate.
Maybe we should start bringing the dog out.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, well, especially when I get to be 76. Right, no gold, but that's the story. And that just shows to show you when you are out of the bush, whether you're experienced or not, and he was an experienced bushman, be bloody careful, because one mistake and you could be in strife.
Yep.
Thanks, Ant. Be careful coming up there, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
Right, our Ant's got hold of a signal here, and he's given me a crash course on using the mobile phone because people say I'm not a great cameraman. So there he is. There's the hole. The only thing we know, or we think we know for sure, is it's non-ferrous. In other words, it's not steel because it's not blanking out.
Yeah.
We've got the double D coils with the discriminator turned right up. So hopefully this bloke will turn into a bit of gold. And I know this is not in my brief, but look at the bloody bush we're in with. We're the luckiest blokes in the world. You know, we're in a great big gully. Anyhow, get your head in the game.
That's it.
We're down among the tussocks and the prickly moses. It's hard detecting country.
It is, isn't it?
But,
Gosh.
you know, there's signals here. We're interested in this one because if it's not a shotgun shell, it may be a penny or something like that. It's got a sort of big round sound to it. It's already on the move.
Somewhere here.
Ant and I drew up a contract how we'd split this. His people talk to my people and we get how the lawyers are involved. But, yeah.
Must be in this bit here.
If you're around the hut, you're backing in to be something of interest.
Yeah.
See anything, mate?
I think it's a button.
Oh, well, that's a start. It shows.
Yeah. There we go.
It's not a bad one either, is it?
Yeah.
Obviously metal and
I mean, I don't think it's got anything on it, like a, you know, some type of inscription or anything, but definitely a
well,
button.
that's our first find for the day.
First find.
And it's had a little bit of gilt on it. You can see down on the side there, it's had a bit of gilt. Put it up like that with you, mate, like in your fingers. Right, because I'm bloody
You got it? Is it focused?
I'm working hard to be a good cameraman. There he is. That's our first find,
First find.
of significance today.
Nice.
And I mean, a nice bit of social history. And the bloke that was coming through there, if you ever had to work with this bloody button missing off your trousers, you know how disappointed he was when he popped that.
Definitely.
Righto.
All right,
Ant,
no gold, but
back
we've
on
got a
your
button.
heads. We've got a button. Good
Cheers.
work, Ant. Righto. Ant's got another signal here. It's in black looking ugly ground, but we're right near a very interesting water race that we're going to show you in a minute. So we'd like to film everything, or all the rubbish. So
As much as
there's the man, there's the hole. You can hear the signal. We're hoping that he'll go through that sort of silty ground and get into a more yellow ground or a more gravelly ground. It easily could be a bullet that's impacted, you know, someone stood up on the top and taken a shot at something and fired it straight down into the soft ground. But if you can get down into what's starting to look a bit better already, if you can get all that black stuff off and it's still in the whiter clay, who knows?
It's just so much mud.
Yeah, everything's just, we've had a heap of rain. Same deal, not making out, is it, Ant?
Oh. No. Same.
Oh, well.
Screaming like anything.
Like
But
mine.
it's getting into
It's getting into the
ground.
better ground, yeah. And you can see on the camera how it's going into the yellow clay, or not the yellow clay, the grey clay now.
Oh,
Oh, shoots out. But it might be in those little bits there. So, at least we got onto that pipe clay or onto that clearer
Exactly,
clay,
yeah.
the white clay.
Sure you don't want a pair of gloves today, Glenn?
Well, it's the sort of ground, isn't it? Yeah, it's the sort of ground. I'll have to get the dishwashing liquid and the hot water out before I go and see my lovely Josie.
I reckon.
I mean, she calls me sandpaper hands, and that hurts a little bit. I always laugh. Josie wears glasses, but she doesn't wear them all the time. So we'd be sitting on the couch, and she'll be looking at me adoringly, And then she'll put her glasses on and go, "Oh!"
Who's that?
That's not what I signed up for. I'll take my glasses back off.
Alright.
Right, mate.
What is it? It's in the hand.
Getting closer.
Saw that.
Someone said in our comments they like the fact that we show that you have to dig 50 bits of rubbish. And 50 bits often is understating it to get
Yeah,
a good
I
gold,
reckon.
you know. You'll dig a lot of rubbish.
I think there it is. Looks like a...
You've got to enjoy the process as much as the result.
thought it was a bullet, but actually I don't
Shotgun
think it's
end,
a
is it?
bullet. Yeah, it's a bullet of some sort.
Yeah,
But there's so much... Oh, there we go. It's a bit cleaner. What's that
there
called?
it is. So that'd be the...
Remington.
So John Wayne's been down here firing a few shots.
Yeah, you blokes who shoot will know what that is off, but I'm not sure. But it's a Remington.
There it is. Get closer.
And focus.
Focus, touch screen.
There we go.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Find number
and
two.
A pretty handy one as well.
That's it.
Good work, Ant.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm going to
Cheers.
show you right here, Ant. You want to do the
Yeah, I'm
camera work? I'll turn it off. Now, when they worked this gully, when they came into it, they cut a big trench right down the centre, built a big dam at the top. By this stage, they had water races, so they're filling the dam from the water race all the time. And they sluiced this gully right out. And when I talk about having that trench down the centre, every time I show you it's dry and you don't get a really good idea of how they worked the dirt into the trench and then turned the water off and cleaned up the trench. Have a look at this one. That's the bedrock, that's the level of the bedrock there. They've pick and shoveled it down to this depth. So they've had to cut a trench, and imagine hard work, what it would be like when you pick and shovel. That's not soft, and that's had the water on it for bloody 170 years. So all the way up the centre, they've cut a narrow race like that, worked all the dirt into the sides. The rain has shown us how beautiful it would have been when they were working in here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So they're bringing the dirt and gravel from the sides, they're bringing the water on from the sides. The force of the water is taking the loose dirt away. Everything they put in it, it's taking it away, you know, like that. It's cutting the stuff. But every time they throw a bit of gold in there with gravel, the gravel sinks to the bottom. They keep working up the gravel with their sluice pulls. That's what those heaps of stones are. You see to the side, they've thrown the stones out. And eventually they say, turn the water off, Johnny. Johnny turns the water off. They clean it all up, dish it. And as they go along, you know, this particular gully, they got 170 ounces out of this gully, just up above us. So imagine you're coming along the trench, and there's a bit of gold sitting up, you go, good day, boys, we'll have a look at this, you know. And that, they got almost buckets of gold, you know, they got a lot of gold. They did a lot of work, you know, you imagine coming to a huge big gully and they say, right, we're going to clean all this off. You start, I say to Ant, you start cutting a trench through that solid bedrock and just keep going up there for 500 or 600 yards and I'll let you know when you're finished. It's a big job. So I'm thrilled by the engineering work that the old timers did. And I'm bloody glad it wasn't me. But there it is, and you get a good idea the force of the water, the job the water did.
Yeah, great to see.
Well,
We're lucky. One good thing about the rain, eh?
Yeah, well, it shows.
It's great to see this water race in action.
And you know, we're lucky to be live out here looking at these things. It's great.
Nice one, thanks, Glenn.
No gold, but we'll find some eventually, hopefully.
That's it, onwards and upwards.
We're up on a ridge between the two gullies, and when you're out detecting, you tend to get in the gullies and stay in the gullies. But all that gully down below us there, it's been worked. And then only about 30 metres to the other side of us, there's another deep gully. And what they've done, the ground that's been left between the 2 points, they've sunk on it to see what was under the points. And this is a sinking here. So this shaft that I'm standing in is 30 times deeper than it looks there. It's filled up with sticks and leaves. But if you were dumb enough to jump down there, you might jump down and get covered over. But I've got a signal. Not great, but I'm interested in it because I reckon it's dirt that came out of the bottom of that shaft. And as I was kneeling down, the other thing that caught my eye, apart from this whacking grade drop to this side. That's why I'm standing on this side and not on that side.
There's nowhere to stand.
Just there, if you're ever out the bush and you think you see something like a little pony's been out the bush, that's wombat shit. That's a wombat's been wandering along there. So you see those little green, little pellets about that big, that's where a wombat's been. So that's where a wallaby or kangaroo's been, that one. I don't know why I'm being so precious about handling because they're only grass, but that's wallaby or kangaroo, but that's a wombat. Now, I don't want to fall down that slope.
I don't want to go get
I don't want to go down that shaft.
Definitely, you be careful.
So I've got 50 cents each way. I've got my leg up here. Blanked out a couple of times and I would have turned it up other times, but we've proven with these external speakers, I call them boosters, and they are a booster because they lift up that signal, but they're an external booster, Ant tells me.
External speaker.
External speaker, external speaker.
Yeah. But it gives enough of a boost for us.
Oh, it does. It definitely gives it a booster.
Yep.
Especially if you're a bit low in hearing as well.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you get low in hearing. And
I thought we were getting younger, Glenn.
oh yeah, well, that's the trouble, Ant. They steal your clothes. The ground's nice and soft. The amount of rain we
I
get.
know. How soft is it?
Yeah,
It's great.
everything's as soft as anything.
Close.
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon I moved him.
Mm-hmm. No, maybe not.
Very close.
Mm.
He's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure he's not stuck in his fingers.
Yep,
Oh, I'm
yep.
pleased to hear that because I've...
It's not that, is it?
Hold that in your hand for a minute, mate.
It's in here.
Can you see him?
No, no.
Oh,
I'm
pop him back on there with you, mate.
Yellow. Where's the colour? Or is it that? Is that a nail or something?
No, that's
No,
just true
that's
root.
good.
Right, open a little present. Hold on.
I think I see a bit of colour.
There he is.
There we are. Well done, Glenn.
Had a few anxious moments there.
Yeah. Woo! First one for the day.
Well, there he is.
Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely.
So he's a bit of water wash gold, and he's came from the bottom of that hole, and that hole is probably sunk to the level of that gully beside us there.
Which is poof,
So
50 metres, I reckon.
yeah,
At least.
so imagine you stepped or jumped in that.
Yeah, watch your right leg. Don't go.
Yeah,
any
too
further
right.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. Great loss.
Here's a geezer.
Yeah, mate.
Ooh,
Great loss to the
very
sporting
nice.
world if I got hurt, Ant. I
100%.
could have been a champion footballer, you know.
I thought you were talking about the gold detecting
No,
spot.
no. I was a really good footballer, and then, well, I thought I was, and then when I was 16, I was unfortunately diagnosed with a crippling lack of ability. Right, man. Well, that's our first one.
That's it.
That's
Bit of
good.
a rattle.
Right,
At
mate.
least half a gram.
So we've got gold, wombat shit.
I'm sure the international viewers are going to love that.
Yeah, well,
Bit of history on wombat and kangaroo and
yeah,
wallaby
well,
shit.
they just look like you think, oh, they're like a little pony pellet, you know, so that's all they are.
Beautiful. All right.
Right, man.
Thumbs
Thumbs up,
up.
mate. First one for
Well
the
done.
day.
Let's get on to some more.
Go down. Ant and I are moving back to a better spot. It's only a better spot because we've got gold there before and there's a lot more signals. Where we were we've probably only dug 6 signals all the time we've been in there. Well, admittedly, one of them was gold, but there's not enough digging time. You know, we're mucking around, So we want to go
lots
back
of
up
ground
here.
noise too.
And lots of ground noise. We dug one between us, and we were working out whether we'd go 60-40 or 70-30, and turned out just to be ground noise when it got down. So I was coming back along the track and casually detecting the track, because up above us there's a quartz mine, on which you can see the difference in the ground. See the slates? That's slate, quartz obviously, and there's this darker slate here. That's the slate that they refer to as indicator. When that meets the reef, that darker stuff, that helps to make the gold. So where that makes contact with the reef, that'll make gold. So anyhow, I'm coming along here, got a little tiny signal. First tiny bit of pulled out was that little bit of gold just there. So,
Oh, jeez. Nice.
so I'm often, you know, you detect the track, and it's usually when you're tired and you want easy detecting. So that's the 2 we've got for the morning. You want to weigh them, Ant? What do you reckon? Don't be fooled by how big that one looks, because that one's tiny.
But yeah, this one's got a bit of, I reckon that's halfer at least,
Yeah, I reckon.
0.6.
You game go 0.7, are you?
No, not 0.7. But I mean, hey, I could be wrong. It happens once or twice. I'll go 0.6 on that one.
Yeah. That one's sort of reminiscent of that one you got. Those 0.2, wasn't it, or 0.25? You'd be lucky to be 0.2.
Yeah, I reckon lucky 0.2
Yeah.
for that one. Yeah, smidgen under. It's pretty paper thin, this one, isn't it?
But I'm interested to know whether that one's come out of that gully
Looks like it's even
or come down off the roof line, you know.
Yeah.
But I went for a walk up the slope, because one other time up there around the mouth, it's only been a 2-man mine, the quartz mine, and I went up the top and there was a shaft and there was a pile of quartz put to one side. And I'm always interested in quartz that they've stockpiled, because it often means they're going to cart it away and crush it, but it's not rich enough, you know, so they've got to get enough stone up to crush. And now I got one little specimen out of that pile of quartz, not today, but I walked up the hill, I couldn't find it. I'd left this little one sitting in a stone in the middle of the track. I thought, now someone might come along bloody with a pixie hat and steal that, so I had to come back down. So anyhow, we've got 2, and we'll get back up here and try and dig a few more signals. So thumbs up, Ant.
Good work, mate. Good
Good on
work.
you, Ant. Ant's got a signal here. Well, he said he definitely, maybe, possibly has got a signal here.
Definitely, maybe, possibly not a hot rock. Possibly, maybe.
So,
But we're pretty definite.
so we're optimistic. We've had a lean day as digging signals today. We've got 2 little bits, but this one's in a good spot. If
It's in a good spot.
it's
I just got to be careful I don't.
yeah, well,
I
it's
think I'm going to dig uphill.
it's a soft, yeah, too right. It's a softly operation too, you know. That's plenty, I reckon, mate. I'd keep testing before I took too much more off.
Okay. Yes. And delicate signal.
Because then you can, yeah, well, he's only a little fella, unless he. Well, that's good. Yeah.
I'm hoping it stays in the ground.
Yeah, that's right. And keep moving your rubbish soil back.
Yep.
You know, so when he does come out, like we've spoken about before, you're not bringing him into a heap of rubbish.
Exactly.
There's no hurry when you're digging them.
Yeah, I like to enjoy it.
Yeah, not only
It's a
that,
nice sound.
you know, if you're having I talk about people that are getting into detecting, and when I first started detecting, I'd go to places and I think I'll get gold here, you know, because I was the first person ever to be in there with a detector.
Jeez.
And the gold wasn't easy, but it was next door to easy. Sometimes it was easy, you know.
Jesus.
Uh,
Only if we had a time machine.
Yeah, that's right. If I knew as much as I knew now. But anyhow, now signals are hard to get. So if you're starting off detecting, you've got to imagine,
Yeah.
say the gullies around here that we've been working in this morning, I've taken out thousands of pieces of gold. I don't mean big bits, but thousands of little bits of detectable gold. Well, if that happens and the blokes that started with me, if they do the same, when you come out and you're having your first day out, it's a lot harder to get because all those 10,000 bits are gone. You know, so it's not laying around. The signals aren't laying around. Blokes have cleaned up the signals. So it's a hard caper.
Yeah, it certainly is.
We'd be lucky today. You reckon we wouldn't have dug 20 signals, do you reckon?
No.
No.
Definitely not.
You know, some days you do, some days you dig a lot of rubbish, but and this one is a tricky one that Ant's got.
Yeah.
He could easily go wrong, you know.
It's a bit deeper than I thought, unless maybe I'll make it a bit wider.
Yeah, he might be inside of it too. So we've got to, it's getting into likely ground. And by likely ground, I mean it's not turning into ash and it's not turning...
And it's growing.
Yeah, it's a definite signal now,
Yeah,
so...
now it's... Yep, happy with that.
Bring this face out here, mate, take that off so that you can get your coil flat again. Yeah, so where we are, and I won't show you now,
It's a good looking worm.
it's a scrub worm. I've got to look after, there's a scrub worm, I've got to look after him. Because I've got a sort of superstition that if I don't look after him, it was going to turn into gold. Still a nice, bright, cheery little noise.
Yeah.
At least he's...
It's not blanging out, so I'm my heart's starting to race a bit more.
Yeah, good boy.
Getting a
good
bit
man.
excited now.
Yeah,
And as you say, look at this ground.
Yeah.
Into the clay.
yeah.
It's deeper than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little... When you showed me, I thought, be careful, you know, it's going to be a little...
There it is. In there.
If this turns into a bit of gold, you'll see the old bloody Ukrainian dancing. As one bloke wittily said, pole dancing. You'll see pole.
Well, I've heard that one a few times.
Yeah. Well, we'll see that bit of that if things go well. Oh, he's out.
Here we go.
Oh, Nancy. First go.
Split 50-50. You got the camera going?
Yeah, I'm holding you like a bloodhound, Ant. Yeah. In that one, is he? Or is it might be on the phone, is it? You have to go. No, I reckon he's in that one.
Don't tell me it's that.
You got something?
Yeah. Piece of lead. Bugger.
Ah, gee.
Rust nugget.
There it is. Oh well.
Bugger.
Got us excited.
Yep.
And
well.
I'll just show you this while we are filming. Where we are, they've cut this big race here through pretty well solid stone. Because they needed the force of the water further down to be lower than the bottom of the gully, they've had to bring the water down low here to keep it flowing through the gully. So they've cut down a good 6 feet, probably no, closer to 8 feet, through solid stone to bring the water on. And that goes right along. I don't know how good my camera work is, but imagine if you see that line, that goes right along. So, geez, you've got to take your hats off from the work they did. And I know you might say, oh, well, they were getting good gold. Yeah, but if you were getting paid bloody... If a bloke got plucked out of the city and they said, yeah, come down here and dig this race and we'll give you 2,000 a week, you'd say, get to the foot of the stairs, that's bloody too much hard work. And it is too, it's hard work. It was hard work. No wonder they had muscles of bloody iron. Righto, folks. Disappointment, but at least we enjoyed the signal. Thumbs down out.
Come on, give us a smile. Give us a smile.
Ant and I made our way back up here because, a good 30 years ago I was in here and I found a spot here and I got a lot of free gold, and I don't, you know, that people say, oh, Glenn, you know this, you know that. I don't know why it's here, but I said to Ant, we'll go up there because I've got stuff there before. Then I shot Ant off into the pines to on a mythical trail looking for a reef, And
200 metres, 45 degrees he goes. All right.
and I've got this little bit that's terrible thin.
Look at this.
Got that one. And I've got something here too if he hasn't. This. Come out of there, mate.
Is that a beetle?
That's a beetle, that's a wood beetle. He doesn't want to come out of there, but he's worth a look as well. So
Good looking beetle.
there he is. That's a golden-backed beetle. So he's a big wood beetle. There's a bit of gold. And that's where it came off. And that's where it went back.
Nice.
I'm not a big fan of creepy crawlies, but he's a nice little fella, or a nice big fella.
Big, yeah.
Yeah. And there's the gold, and that's how he came out. So
Nice bit of gold.
hopefully we'll. And this is where I've got gold before, you know. That's how he come out of the ground.
Very nice.
And that's bottom there. That's not white clay.
Mm.
Now put you out of the road, mate. Stop dicking around. You're just showing off now. You get over there.
And how much? How much do you reckon that one's going to weigh? I know it is thin, but
See that?
it's big.
He was on that.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I don't know whether when the water's been coming down through the gully, whether this sort of sandy bottom has been a natural catchment as it's spread, and it's left the gold here. And the old timers knew their game, and they've taken the surface off, and they've left that one. To answer your question, Ant, 1.3.
1.3.
He's got a lot of size to him,
Yeah.
but he's got no thickness to him. Maybe less than that. Maybe I got a bit excited.
I'm going to go 1 gram.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I hope
if he-
it's more.
Yeah. No, he's got.
but I can't feel much.
No, you can't feel
It's
any
big.
weight.
It looks-
Yeah,
Like viewers at home are going to think,
Yeah.
oh, that's going to be 1.5 grams for sure.
that's right.
But it's.
Yeah, when I saw him in the hole, I thought, oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
But you could nearly spit through him. You know,
Yeah.
he's
It's a good looking bit though.
It
isn't
is a nice
That's
looking little
very
bit.
Nice, very nice piece of Victorian gold. Well done, Glenn.
good on you, Ant. Well,
I've got a bit of catching up to do.
we'll dig in here and see if we can't round up a signal for you to,
yeah, I reckon.
to have a
That'd be
bit.
all right.
Righto, Ant.
Nice one. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Good job.
Good on you, birdie beetle. You're a good little fella. Righto, Ant. Talk us through what we're doing up here.
All right. Well, I've just come up a few meters, about 15, 20 meters from Glen. I'm just detecting the edges here. You can see along here. What's that, Glen? That's
Yeah,
a
it's a big water race.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Right,
it's a big
bloody
water.
big water race.
Yeah,
down
well,
there.
sluice race. Yeah.
Yeah. And then come across this nice little signal. I've taken a bit off. This is everything I've taken it off, and then I called Glenn over.
So where are we in the day, Ant?
Where are we today?
Where are we in the day? Like.
Oh, we're in the bloody 20 to 4. It's almost knock-off time.
Yeah,
so
no,
if you can turn this around,
Nearly time
get
to
my
pull
first
stumps.
piece of gold,
Yeah.
I'll be bloody happy.
So Ant's hoping that this will be the one that.
Turns it around.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
for
a-
me,
It's a roller coaster ride, the detecting game.
it is. Sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes you get donuts.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah.
See what this turns out to be.
The beauty of it is if it. And it's a good signal. It's unlikely to be lead where it is. I know you.
get me too
Yeah,
excited,
sorry, mate. No, I don't want to oversell it because I can't change what it is.
Yeah.
But the reason I don't think it can be lead, it's below that broken sandstone and yellow clay and that. I can't see how a bullet would impact straight down and get in there.
I agree 100%.
So, if it turns out to be gold, you'll jump to the top of the leaderboard too because it sounds, it sounds a little bit of size to it.
Fingers and toes.
Yeah.
I don't know about jumping to the top, but I'll be happy if it does.
Yeah, I'll be happy if it's gold. I don't care how small it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be
Well, the
pleased
ground
to
looks
see it.
good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look at it. Getting into that white clay that you had down over there.
On the Baptist church in Dartford, there used to be a sign that said, "Lord, he is thine." In other words, the Lord is in the church. Anyhow, they got a new Baptist minister and he was very skinny, and someone put black paint over the E, and for about 2 weeks the sign said, "Lord, he is thin." So we're hoping that even if this is thin, it'll still suit us.
Yeah, damn straight.
He's out.
He's out. Oh,
Yeah, like a month ago, or no, 6 months ago, I would have said no way. But
Yeah.
we've learned our lesson.
Exactly. Still possible.
Yeah. Jesus.
This close to it anyway. Because it was sounding good 2 seconds ago. Alright,
Yeah.
here we go. I can see it.
You can see it, and he's not gold,
It's not
obviously.
gold.
You're rotten blood, Joe.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. There it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. We can laugh about it now. We can laugh about it. But
Have not.
as you said, 15 or 20 metres up from where I got a bit of gold.
Yep.
There's a signal in a likely
Very
spot.
likely. Sounded great.
It wasn't gold, it sounded like gold. But for all the detectors that have been here and all the men, you're the bloke that plucked it out. Right, mate. I'll go back down here and try and pluck out a little signal, and
That's it.
we'll see how we go. But
Still not finished.
yeah, we're not finished.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've still got hope.
Where there's life, there's hope. Too right.
That's
Righto,
it.
Ant. Thumbs down.
Cheers, mate.
Righto, we're at the end of the day. We've got a few people to thank. First one is a bloke called Craig who contacted us, and he said he'd been watching our channel and so much he enjoyed our channel, and he noticed that Ant wore gloves. So he sent Ant this whopping great big package of gloves, which Ant wore a pack.
Tested them out today.
Tested them out today.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Craig.
So well done.
Love it.
Thanks, Craig. And
Appreciate
I'm glad you enjoy our channel. Thank you very much for giving these to Ant. But what about my needs, Craig? What about me?
You should start wearing them, Glenn.
Actually, I will. I'll take a few sets of driving gloves. Horse driving gloves, not when I'm driving a Mercedes. So, thanks very much, Craig. Ant, tell us about our contest winner.
Lynn, shout out to Lynn. She got in contact and I've sent that nugget out to her. So congratulations, your nugget is in the mail. So that will be arriving with you shortly. And obviously wanted to also say a big thank you to everybody who did enter. We had a great response from everybody. And
the blokes that said they'd tip it back in and give it to charity or give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Good on to you. Well
yeah,
done.
there were a few of those.
And to the blokes that said they'd sell their mother to the circus to win it. Good on to you too, because that's how I used to feel about it. So well done. And we're glad that you were so keen to get hold of it. Now we found 3 little ones today. There they are there. It's been a bit of a bittersweet day because signal's been hard to find, and didn't have much luck.
Bombed out today.
So, but that's the story of it.
That's it.
That's the story of it. So, we'll start with the smallest one. I'll get them off there, mate.
We'll make it easier.
Right, we'll start with the smallest one.
Point 2 I'm calling.
Yeah, well, I won't have a shout out on that one.
0.16.
0.16. That's the one I got in the middle of the track. We were walking back to the car. We went below some diggings, and he was in the middle of the track, and he was just a signal and then a scrape, and there he was.
What are we going next?
That's the well. Which one of those do you think is the biggest? I know you get the heaviest, not the biggest,
That's
the heaviest.
right.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing, because the one on the left is quite thin.
Yeah, he's very thin, all
I
right.
reckon that'll
Yeah.
be. I reckon that's gonna go 0.6.
This one 0.6, and
I
what?
reckon that one's gonna be bigger. That
This
on
one
the
here,
right, yeah, 'cause
righto.
It's a bit fat. Oh, it's a lot fatter.
Rightio.
But I don't know. What do you reckon?
I think he'll go. I'm going to say. I don't want to say 0.7. I'll go 0.8.
0.8. Oh, nice. Oh,
0.7 on the
0.7,
button.
yep.
Yeah.
yeah, 0.7.
Right. So that's the one I got when we're high on the ridge, out of the collar where the
That was
wombat,
the first one,
wombat, as some people, as your polite society would say, wombat droppings were. Now this is our third one. That one was just 0.7 on the nose.
Mm-hmm. What do you reckon?
Bigger when you're at home. Is that heavier than that? Now the obvious answer is yes, but if you get them in your hand and have a look at them, you might be so sure. So that one's 0.7, and this one is. See?
0.6.
Well, yeah, 0.59.
0.59.
You wouldn't credit that though, would you? You know,
No.
when he was in the ground, I thought,
Yeah.
oh, that's all right.
It's a grammar for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
0.6.
So that goes to show how small he is. if you're at home, I'd be interested to know which way you guessed, if you got it right or not. So all up,
1.48.
1.48. So
Well done, Glenn.
Ant, there'll be other days.
That's it.
Ant dug one, and we were both optimistic. When you're never confident, but we were both optimistic about him, and we missed out. So come off there, mate.
What else do I get to? I've got all.
Oh yeah, we got our coins.
I've got everything here.
I don't think I got much for show and tell. I got that bit
Well, they were
of.
far and few between the signals.
They were.
weren't
Signals
they?
were hard to find. That came from the hut where I was talking about the amalgam.
That and that. And the only, actually, I did get a, oh, look at that button. That's pretty cool. So that's all right.
And that was,
And-
that was a button we got in the big gully, or the big valley it is, more so than a gully.
Yeah. And it does have that little marking on it.
It's got some sort of marker or
Yeah,
whatever on
it's
it.
like a flower or something.
Yeah, well, it might have even come off. It might even be an eye hole for a canvas tent or something like that too. You know,
Oh,
see
yeah.
feed the rope through
Yeah,
there.
true,
It might have been
actually.
in a
Maybe it's
canvas.
not a button.
Because you can see it's sort of pressed.
Mm.
Um,
That's it. That's all we
now,
got
as you
for
know,
today.
I love reading the comments, and I've noticed that more women are following us, and more women are commenting, which is good.
Yeah.
More ladies or girls or whatever you want to say. I nearly got in strife before when I went down that path, but genuinely thankful that people are interested in what we're doing and understand that it's not just about gold. We'd like to take you out and show you that we have a bit of fun and how much fun Ant and I have as a team.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm glad that people are watching it with their families and with their children. Bloke called John Anderson said that he watched it with his 11-year-old son, which was great. You know, that they're sitting up as a family and they're watching Ask Pumpkinheads, which I really enjoy, and they comment, so that's good. Craig, good on you. Thanks very much.
Craig.
I fully intend to knock 3 or 4 of those sets off, don't worry about that. And that pretty well wraps us up. Is that where we're at, Ant?
Yeah. Yep.
We were,
Beautiful.
and thankful whoever's in charge of the weather, because 2 or 3 times this morning, we got off to a late start and I was working. I thought I'll ring Ant and tell him not to bloody come, and only that I didn't want to cancel Christmas.
Like you did it.
Yeah. So where we've come into, this is the second spot we came into today. Where we are today, well, I've got that little thin fella, but we'll come back here too. Just probably start from here next time and work our way up.
Yeah, sounds good. Oh, also, did want to mention Darren from Lucky Strike in Geelong.
Oh yeah,
I,
too right. Yep.
Yeah,
Keep
I went
talking,
and
you
got
talk it there, Ant.
I got a. I actually used our discount code, so guys, our discount code does work if you want an external speaker. Got $5 off and ordered another speaker for Glenn, and went to pick it up yesterday and met some of the guys at Lucky Strike in Geelong, and yeah, so it was good to meet Darren.
So Ant got this for me because the one I used, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but because I'm so bloody rough with it, I know I'm going to get out the bush and break it, so I wanted to have this one in the car.
It's always good to have a spare.
Ant got the discount, and I couldn't stop laughing, and I really enjoyed it. He was recognised by the bloke that worked in the shop. He said, "Hey, you're not Ant of the Victorian Gold Hunters," which was bloody thrilling for us.
Yeah.
So by Ant's videos, he's taken us from obscurity to relative obscurity. So good effort to Ant. He does a bang up job on the videos, and we often forget to say, you know, it's not easy to bloody chop all my swearing out and put it in so it makes sense. But every so often, even when I watch him, you'll see me go, yeah, and this one time, and that's the end of that. Right,
Yeah, thanks, Glenn.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Ant.
it. Cheers, buddy.
Good on you, folks. Thanks, Craig. Good on you, Lynn. People that watch, not especially the women, but grateful that the women and children watch, you know, that we've got a broader audience. So thank you very much.
The audience is growing.
And when we get to 4,000, we're going to have a bloody ripper of a giveaway. I don't know what it is yet, I haven't found it, but when we get to 4,000, we will. So next time.
Cheers, guys.
Good on you, Ant.
See you, Glenn.
See you, mate.